been this month, control and hard contact continue to be an issue for the Pirate righty. Typically, these two things go hand in hand for pitchers. Milwaukee hitters scorched 11 balls with an exit velocity of at least 98 miles per hour off of Musgrove. 4 of these came in Milwaukee's 2-run first inning. One of them was the first of 2 home runs for Mike Moustakas. In the top of the second inning, Moustakas hit his second home run of the game. This one was a solo shot and extended the Brewers' lead to 3-1. This was followed by Yasmani Grandal's 12th home run of the season, making it 4-1 Brew Crew. To Musgrove's credit, he was able to battle through and give the team 6 innings. He posted a 0 in the 5th inning and pitched his lone 1-2-3 inning of the night in the 6th. In the 6 innings of work, Musgrove was tagged for 5 runs, 11 hits, a career-high 3 home runs allowed, 2 walks, 1 intentional, and 6 strikeouts. While the team starting rotation in disarray and Jordan Lyles, we know he will start Sunday, the Bucks need Musgrove to pitch the way he did last season and in March and April this season. If not, things are only going to become even more difficult, and they already are for a challenged Pirate staff. A strong argument can be made that getting Musgrove back on track is just as important for the Pirates as getting pitchers healthy is. Offensively, the Pirates' first run came in the 2nd inning. Josh Bell doubled to start the inning. Brian Reynolds singled to extend his hitting streak to 9 games, and the Pirates had runners on the corners with no one out. After Colin Moran struck out, Elias Diaz singled to score Bell, and Reynolds moved Reynolds to third base. However, Adam Frazier then fouled out before Musgrove was retired to end the inning. In the 2nd inning, the Pirates should have scored more than they did, but poor at-bats by Moran and Frazier proved to be rally killers. However, Moran would make up for his poor at-bat by hitting a solo home run in the 4th inning, his 6th long ball of the season, to cut the Brewer lead to 5-2. Bell's 2nd inning double was a historic one. This was his 12th double in the month of May. He also has hit 12 home runs this month. This makes Bell just the 3rd player in NL history with 12 doubles and 12 home runs in a single month, joining Hank Aaron and Frank Robinson, both of whom did it in July of 1961. That's some pretty darn good company for Josh. In the 5th inning, the Pirates had an opportunity to potentially tie the game with 1 out. Gregory Polanco walked and Starling Marte was hit by a pitch. This brought Josh Bell to the plate, representing the tying run. However, Milwaukee starter Chase Anderson got Bell to pop out to center field before getting the also red-hot Reynolds to ground out. Alex McRae replaced Musgrove in the top of the 7th inning. In 2 innings of work, McRae struggled with control through a pair of wild pitches and was touched up for 2 runs on 4 hits and a pair of walks. McRae is one of the few pitchers the Pirates currently have on their roster. To be frank, do not have much business being on a MLB roster. But desperate times call for desperate measures, and the Bucks are well past desperate times. The Pirates were able to cut into the Brewer lead in the 8th inning. Reynolds reached on an infield hit. Moran walked and both scored on a 2-out pinch hit double by Melky Cabrera. This was followed by a run-scoring single from Cole Tucker that cut Milwaukee's lead to 7-5. Following Tucker's single, Corbin Burns was lifted for Josh Hader. Kevin Newman battled against Hader but struck out looking on a 3-2 pitch to end the inning. With the Pirates back in the game, they needed a 0 in the top of the 9th inning. Unfortunately, Richard Rodriguez is not very good at providing those. Eric Thames to let off the 9th inning with a home run off of Rodriguez. This was the 9th home run allowed by Rodriguez this season. Rodriguez was not done, struggling following the Thames home run. He walked a pair, allowed 2 more hits and 3 more runs. When the dust settled, Rodriguez had been tagged for 4 runs to make the score 11-5 Brewers. His struggles this season led to Rodriguez being optioned to AAA earlier this month. He returned to the team on Monday and pitched well against the Reds. However, he still needed to do more before being trusted in important situations again. The fall of Rodriguez has played a large role in the Pirate bullpen struggling this season. Things continue to be a grind for the Pittsburgh Pirates. The team keeps battling injuries, ineffective performances, and a challenging schedule. Right now, they need to do all they can do to stay afloat until the pitching staff gets some reinforcements. However, doing so is becoming more and more difficult for the team. A big first step to continuing to stay afloat is Musgrove pitching better. He might be pitching through a minor injury. Perhaps he's having an issue tipping pitches. Or maybe his mechanics are off. Whatever it is, he and pitching coach Ray Sears need to get it figured out ASAP. Musgrove needs to get his stuff together. He does. Coming over as a big part of the Garrett Cole trade in 2018. He pitched very well for the team. He did. I'm not going to deny that, but he needs to get back to pitching very well. He needs to get back to pitching the way he pitched in March and April. Because May was abysmal for him in a month where we couldn't afford for him to be abysmal. And somehow we did, going 15-14 with a winning record in the month of May. This team continues to battle adversity and somehow sits at 28-28, 56 games into the 2019 season with a league-leading 22 players on the injury list and an ERA of 6.12 in May. So how did this happen? How are the Pirates able to weather the amount of storms that they've been weathering and sitting at a 500 mark entering this afternoon's game? How have they done it? I'll tell you how. Some pleasant surprises from Josh Bell as an MVP candidate, Melky Cabrera, Brian Reynolds. Francisco Liriano out there has been fantastic. Kevin Newman. I mean, they need to take all the pleasant surprises they can get. And the man at the helm as well has played a big role into this in Clinton Hurdle. Being there for these guys. He is the greatest leader of men I have ever seen. Most managers would have folded at this point, but Clinton Hurdle is fighting tooth and nail to get this team back to the playoffs. He is. And we're sitting, I believe, 2.5 games out of the Atlanta Braves for that second wildcard spot. Like, we can get that second wildcard spot this week. We can be back in first place in the division this week. That's how good of a job Clinton Hurdle has done. It's an impressive job that he's done, and I'm sick and tired of the hate that he gets by Pirates fans. I've talked to people who say, fire Hurdle, fire Hurdle. Like, who do we turn to if we fire Hurdle, right? He's been one of the best managers in Pirates history, outside of Chuck Tanner, Danny Murtaugh, and Jim Leland. You can put him in that Jim Leland category too, because he's led this team to 3 postseason appearances. Ever since he came here, this team has been relevant. Sure, he's made his fair share of mistakes. All managers do. But overall, he's led this Pittsburgh Pirates team back to relevancy and back to success, and he's going to lead this team to a World Series championship in 2019. He is. That is supreme confidence in believing that and saying that. That's who Clinton Hurdle is. That's the leader of men that he is, that he's capable of being. Big thing, though, for this Pirates team heading into June is Joe Musgrove getting himself back on track. If he can do that, we set up for some pretty good success in June if the hitting can stay as hot as they have been, because, man alive, they have been outstanding. Just flat out outstanding this month. If only the pitching could have been just a little bit better. All right, let's move into talking about a little bit of a Twitter feud that the Pirates had with Jameson Tyne regarding the Red Series. The Pittsburgh Pirates saw one of the injured pitchers go to social media in defense of a teammate. It was rather interesting to see. So the Pittsburgh Pirates were beat by the Cincinnati Reds pretty handily by a score of 7-2 on Wednesday. The game had... Not 7-2 on Wednesday. Yeah, they beat the Reds 7-2 on Wednesday. The game had plenty of big moments for the Bucks, with both Colin Moran and Josh Bell hitting 3-run home runs. Brian Reynolds also had another solid game, going 2 for 4 with a run batted in and a walk. Cole Tucker also got into the game as a pinch hitter and defensive replacement and actually had 2 base hits. Kevin Newman, Elias Diaz, and Starling Marte all had 2 hits apiece as well. All in all, it was a pretty good game for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Even with the home runs and all the hits, the most talked about moment from the game came during the 8th inning. The Bucks had right-handed pitcher Clay Holmes on the mound, trying to eat up the last couple innings. With Eugenio Suarez up at the plate, Holmes threw a fastball up and in, and it hit Suarez. The Reds' third baseman had to leave the game because of the pitch. However, Reds manager David Bell took exception to the pitch and went out to have a discussion with the umpires. With such a long history between the two clubs, throwing at each other, and especially the incident earlier this year, Bell undoubtedly was asking for Holmes to be thrown out of the game. Instead, the Reds manager found himself getting tossed out of the game after he was seen yelling furiously at the umpire staff. The aftermath of this carried over onto Twitter. Last night, Pittsburgh Pirates injured starter Jameson Tyne got into a Twitter exchange with former Reds pitcher John Moscott. Moscott felt that the Pirates indeed were throwing at Suarez. Moscott tweeted, You don't just miss up and in and drill a guy with a down and away fastball in the major leagues. Figure it out. Jameson Taillon decided to stick up for his teammate and Holmes and Pittsburgh Pirates and shot back at the former starting pitcher, calling him out. However, Moscott got the last word in. Jameson Taillon said, "Did you just miss down the middle on all the homers you gave up in the MLB? Everyone is human. It wasn't intentional, but people are entitled to their opinions." John Moscott fired back, saying, "Missed plenty of spots and didn't get many guys out. Big difference in joining an all-star and giving up a home run. Having your teammates back is great, and I hope it did slip, but hurting someone intentionally is just pathetic." It is always interesting to see when professional athletes go to Twitter about something controversial in a game. However, for someone like Jameson Taillon, a rather reserved guy, to say something is completely unexpected. With that being said, if anything, it makes it all the more likely that Holmes was telling the truth about just losing control on that pitch. Chances are if the team wanted it to be done on purpose, Taillon would have never responded to Moscott and just let it fizzle out. Instead, Taillon backed up Holmes and the team, which was great to see. Jameson Taillon is he's the clear leader of this team. Is he not? And the fact that he's hurt, it's tough. It is tough, but Jameson Taillon is the leader of this Pittsburgh Pirates team. And he showed that firing back at Mr. Moscott for his ridiculous statement. Ridiculous. Clay Holmes did not hit Eugenio Suarez on purpose, and I'm sick of hearing anybody say that he did. Okay, nothing against Clay Holmes, but his hallmark in his career for his struggles have been control. When he gets in trouble, it's because of his control. And yes, it's been better this season, but he was not hitting Suarez on purpose. He simply wasn't. And I'm sick and tired of hearing Reds fans and even some Pirates fans say, yes, Clay Holmes hit Suarez on purpose. He did not. He did not. Plain and simple. And Jameson Taillon clapped back at John Moscott for being a fool and making a fool of himself. Clay Holmes did not hit Suarez on purpose. I don't know how many times I have to say that before people can understand it. And I hope you listening right now do understand that, because he did not hit him on purpose. He did not. The Reds are a classless organization. Mr. Bell is a classless man. There's a reason the Reds have been in last place since since Russell Martin blew Johnny Cueto and the Reds out of relevancy in 2013. They're a bad team. They are. And for them to have the audacity to say and go out there and argue, especially when Derek Dietrich is, showing us up left and right, and when they hit Melky Cabrera, and when they hit Adam Frazier, and we don't do anything, we don't whine one bit, and then Clay Holmes misses a pitch up and in. Yes, it's to Suarez, but still, he misses a pitch, and David Bell is going to go out there, and he's going to argue about that? What the heck? It's frustrating, and it shouldn't be, because we are in the right. David Bell, Cincinnati, is in the wrong. And then it gets even worse, okay? So, I forget who was pitching, but an up-and-in pitch to Brian Reynolds almost hits the kid in the head. And we get cheers out of that? Stay classy, Cincinnati. Pathetic. If John Moscott is saying that it was pathetic, and then how about Jared Hughes chiming on that, saying that, yeah, he thinks it was intentional. What are you doing, Jared Hughes? You've been in the example of irrelevancy for a long time now, buddy. Stay out of it. It's frustrating to have to justify this, because it shouldn't be the fact that it hit him doesn't need to be justified. Okay, if he did hit him on purpose, shame on me, shame on him, but he did not. And I will continue to say that and continue to defend him tooth and nail, because he did not hit Suarez on purpose. That's the message, and I'm pretty sure I've made it pretty clear. I am pretty sure I've done that. The fact that David Bell is going to go out there and say, the umpires are going to protect our players, so I'm going to have to do that. And the way the Reds announcers reacted, saying there's no way that wasn't intentional, and saying that we continue to do this on purpose. How about we go back to Aroldis Chapman, hitting Andrew McCutchen square in the back